Have you ever seen one of my videos and thought to yourself, wow, this guy fucking sucks, I could do a much better job than him? Well, now's your time to put up or shut up, because I'm going to show you how to make your very own scale modeling videos in just 6 easy steps. Number 3 will make you feel absolutely nothing. Right, so, first things first, you've got to be competent at making models. I've personally opted to skip this step, but if you're doing it the right way, it's definitely helpful for a multitude of reasons. First of all, and this is a running theme with making pretty much anything on YouTube unless you're an AI slop content farm, people generally tend to like good things and dislike bad things. Think of all the big dogs on the YouTube scale modeling scene, your Plasmos or Mac models, what have you. They're good at what they do, and seeing them do their thing is like 90% of the fun. If you're not at least decent at scale modeling, you'll probably want to have some other shtick to fill in the gaps, like only building really obscure kits, or being really good at researching things, or whatever it is that compels people to unironically watch my videos. Find your niche, as it were. That's right, I'm now a business influencer. Give me $5,000 and I'll say buzzwords and give you world's most obvious advice. This shit easy. And none of this is even factoring in stuff like how others react to your work, or spiraling into constantly comparing yourself to others and doing a great big sad about it, but we'll get to that in due time. Basically, if you've literally just started scale modeling 5 seconds ago, you might want to hold off from making it your unpaid for exposure job. And if you're simply just average at it, have a bit of a think about what your thing is. You don't have to have a 5-year plan, just a vague idea on how you can differentiate yourself from the hundreds of other middle-aged British men building 1/72nd scale Spitfires. Right, so you've got that squared away, time for step 2. Recording yourself building the model. There are numerous ways to skin this particular cat, but the common denominator between all of them is a neutral background, having light, and having a way to point the camera where the things are that doesn't make you want to cry. The first and second thing are pretty simple. For a background, I personally use a roll of PVC, either black or white, depending on whatever I think would be funny. It's a nice solid colour so it isn't particularly distracting, is durable enough to use as a working surface, and fairly easy to clean unless you're an idiot like me who can't stop spilling superglue everywhere. As far as lighting goes, there's a window to my back and I tend to do my scale modeling during the daytime, because being able to see what you're doing is generally advantageous regardless of if you're recording or not. You may want to add a few lamps to the equation if you want to film when it's not day, or if you don't have abundant natural light where you're working, but I personally don't bother because my phone camera is so shit that it would barely make a difference in terms of image quality. The third one is where it gets mildly interesting, and it depends on what you're recording with. As I mentioned, I use a phone, and you really don't need much to suspend a 150 odd gram rectangle in space. I personally use the broom arm that came with my microphone with a 5/8 inch to 1/4 inch screw mount adapter so I can use it for recording both video and sound. On that, a really cheap and terrible 1/4 inch ball joint head, and finally, a 1/4 inch tripod phone holder. The broom arm clamps to the side of the table I'm using and gives you pretty much unlimited adjustability. It's so non-invasive that I often completely forget that it's there, which is why a lot of my videos are out of focus and out of frame. Prior to this, I used to jam a tripod between my legs, which technically worked but was otherwise massively unpleasant. If you want to use an actually good camera, you could probably use the same general setup but with a high quality and beefier version of pretty much everything listed, because this simply cannot support the 950 grams of my DSLR and the smallest lens that I own. If you're an actually sane person, you'd probably want to use a dedicated overhead mount or a gantry for that purpose though. Now that you're all situated, all that's left is to build the damn model. And remember to press record. And constantly making sure that the thing you're working on is in focus. Or that it's even in the frame to begin with. And to make sure that your hands and such or arms aren't blocking the thing what you're trying to show the audience. It's not easy, innit? Oh, also, unless you're a masochist, you've only got one shot, so if you mess up any of that, you're either going to have to script and edit your video around it, or take the L. Fun! While you're in the process of step 2, it might be a good idea to do a bit of step 3. Scripting and voiceover. You can skip this one if your other hobbies include kicking puppies and firebombing infants, but for the sake of your prospective viewers, please don't. Scale modeling videos without any sort of voiceover are so fucking boring it's unreal. Nobody wants to watch 50 minutes of things happening towards most repetitive music. Where's your passion? Your insight? Where's your goddamn panache, boy? Scale modeling videos with poorly done voiceover aren't quite so bad, but the fact that they could be significantly better by either the creator having words in front of them or doing a second take makes it all the more depressing. As for how you script, I don't know. I sort of just open a Word document, black out, and there's a script there by the end of it. It'll definitely take a few goes to figure out what works for you, but honestly, all that matters is that you're actually, doing it. If you want to be funny, be funny. If you want to be informative, be informative. All that I ask is that you be something. Once you've got your script finalized, it's time to actually record the voiceover. Personally, I use this microphone I got at Kmart for $40 because Maker's Muse said it was okay, and given that I haven't gotten any complaints about it, I guess it really is okay. I use Audacity for recording, and my post-processing workflow can be condensed into this wacky and uncharacteristic list of steps, but I'm not going to spend any more time talking about it, because what you need to do depends on what microphone you're using, what the acoustics are like where you're recording, and some other stuff. I don't know how sound works. Now that you've recorded yourself building the model and scripted and recorded some voiceover, it's time to put it all together in step 4, editing the video. Once again, you can skip this one and just chuck all your raw footage into one monstrosity 10-hour long video if you happen to enjoy Coldplay and committing genocide, but for the rest of us, there's really no right way to do this. I personally prefer to use Kdenlive as my video editing software because it's free, open source, and I hold so much contempt for Adobe that I don't even want to pirate that shit. It's pretty damn good. I personally haven't had any deal-breaking issues with it for the 10 or so years I've been using it. Oh god, the years truly don't stop coming. Whatever you do end up using though, it's more or less a case of carving out the video you want out of what you've recorded. Once again, if you want to be snappy and fast-paced, be snappy and fast-paced. If you want to be all chill and relaxing, be chill and relaxing. It will take a few goes to figure out your style and workflow in this regard, but once you do, that's pretty much the hard part done. I like to record my voiceover in a single large file, so you gotta trim that down, and then sift through your footage to find something that relates to what you're talking about, and then you do that another 1,000 times, and then you add all the effects, and then spend an hour rendering a 10-minute long video, and then watch over it, and then realize that you missed something or otherwise made a mistake, and then spend another hour rendering, and then repeat that until you've eventually got something you're not completely embarrassed by. This only takes me about 3 or so days at worst, and I managed to hash out my most recent video in under 24 hours out of pure spite, so in the grand scheme it doesn't take that long. The fact that you have to make a whole ass scale model and /or fit all of this around whatever job and schooling you may currently be doing is the main time sink. But hey, you've rendered the video and are beaming with pride. Time to do a bit of step 5 and deal with the consequences of uploading a video to YouTube. I'll keep this brief. Set your comment moderation to basic to play YouTube the way it was meant to be played, or none if you want a more hardcore player vs enemy experience. You'll probably get a myriad of comments throughout your YouTube quote-unquote career, some positive, some negative, a non-zero amount absolutely batshit insane. It's up to you to figure out how you interact with your community, and if there's a grain of truth in that somewhat rudely worded comment, or if the person that posted it was generally repeatedly dropped on their head as a child as some sort of weird Olympic sport. On that note, try to avoid looking at your analytics as much as possible. That shit is the genuine mind killer. And finally, step 6. Do it all again. It never ends. You will record yourself fiddling with plastic for hours on end. You will write the script, you will create the content, and you will be happy.